after using the Canon R5 for a few days, I just came to realize that there's a lot of little things put into this camera that make it, that are appreciated, that make it a joy to use. And I love saying, one of my sayings in life is, sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference. Like if you stay at a hotel and they put a little chocolate on your pillow, you get back to your room and someone made up one of the towels to look like a swan. Those are little things, but they make you so happy. And so in the camera, here's a list of things that I found and appreciate that the camera engineers put into the camera. Okay, little thing number one has become a big thing. No dust on my sensor. Because Canon added a shutter protection. When you turn the camera off, the shutter gets closed and protects the sensor from dust. And that's the number one annoying thing with mirrorless cameras, is they constantly need to be cleaned to get the dust off them. So yay, all cameras should have some kind of sensor blocker thingy-ma-ba-ba. Number two, I know some other YouTubers have complained that the SD card slots are different. However, I do like that it has one cheap one, an SD card slot, and one that if you want to record faster rates or if you want to do things that are a little bit more advanced, it's got the CF card. I like when cameras have two different SD cards. Also, let's say it's an emergency and you don't have an SD card. You're out on, you're traveling. A cheapy SD card is easier and cheaper to find as an emergency. And remember my life hack, guys. Always have a SD card in your purse or in your wallet. And it has saved me in the past. When I forget an SD card at home, it's in there. Number three, picking my video options on this camera has been a joy because they've decided to put all the options just on one screen, as opposed to Nikon, which, you have to scroll through a long list. And Fujifilm has 3 columns that you scroll through to pick your options. So I like that. You pick your 8K or 4K or HD. Then under that, you can actually see what, frame rate you're shooting at and then what compression you want. So very simple to pick your video options. All right, number 4, FV mode, which I call Fujifilm mode. I actually did a video on this mode, but the camera can actually shoot in a different way. So instead of choosing manual mode, aperture priority mode, shutter priority mode, or program, FV mode allows you to just change the 3 exposure triangle options on their own. Or you can make them either all auto, you can make one of them that you pick and the other 2 are auto. And that's kind of how a Fujifilm camera works. You decide which ones you want to control. Now, adding to that FV mode, a little thing they added is they put little icons on which wheels control which option, which I think is great because sometimes you as a beginner forget which dial does what. So just those little icons are very helpful. Number 5, the quick button, the Q button. It's a little different than what other cameras do. Other camera companies, if you pick the Q button, it has a predetermined set of options that you choose. But I find if you're a beginner, if you don't understand the camera system, it takes a long time to decide what you want on your Q menu. Some of them you never use because it's just like those of you that are unorganized and your shoes are everywhere in your closet. Your Q menu is always a mess, okay? Except for you organized people out there, we hate you. However, the Q button on the Canon, and these are the little things that are awesome. If you press the Q button, it shows you all the main options of of what you can change on the camera. So white balance and even frame rate, and you can change the volume of your movie. Everything is on that main screen, and the touchscreen is so intuitive and so easy to use that you can change your options right on the screen. Which brings me to the next one. It's a little thing, but Canon has made it so that you can decide how you want to change your settings. You can either change them on that back screen, you could dive into the menu, you can make a function button be a way to change something. So they actually give you different variety. Now I messed up the order because I added one on the fly. The Mfun button. The Mfun button. Now, the old Canon DSLRs used to have 4 buttons on the top, and you kind of had to memorize. Each button took care of 2 functions, and you had to memorize the Canon, but I never memorized them. I always had to look. But whoever designed this camera smartly made one button to actually change anything you want. So if you press the Mfun button, you can actually cycle through ISO, white balance, focus mode, drive mode. And again, this stuff is great when you're looking in the viewfinder. You don't need to take the camera away from your eye. You can actually have the screen completely closed and shoot the camera. If it's bright and sunny out, you could do everything through the viewfinder. Change your modes, you don't have anything on the screen. It's just great that you can do everything with the touch of the button without removing the camera from your eye. The next little thing is they give you 3 dials. And 3 dials should be standard on all cameras because you can decide what you want each one to be. And the 3 should be shutter, aperture, and ISO. And so the back wheel, traditionally, like my DSLRs, is my aperture. This one is always shutter because that's memory for my Nikon cameras, Fujifilm cameras. Any camera I use, this is always shutter for me. And then ISO is this rear dial. Now, the next one is in the list of little things, but it's actually a huge thing. Focusing with this camera and setting it up how you want to focus is a joy. For example, I love shooting in single focus point. All my cameras have a single square in the middle. I focus and recompose. However, I do shoot portraits of people. I photograph my children. So I need eye autofocus to be active. And so this one allows you to set a custom button for eye autofocus. So I set my little star, little asterisks here to be eye autofocus. But you can also, which is cool, set up the camera to have eye face detection on, and you have a little focus point active in the center. So if you're photographing people, you can just point that center focus point near a person. And so the camera is really smart at picking an eye from that little center focus point. And if there isn't an eye available, it's very smart at picking the object that's closest to you. And it's just so fast. All right, what about you? What about you? You got any favorite Canon R5 features? Put them in the comments below and we will read them and respond to everyone. I can't do that. All right, I'll see you guys next time.